they're here to support him, and that's the expectation. As our lobby is being readied up, I'd like to take a look at our map and see which one we're going to be playing on here. Is our lobby's ready? Okay, so we're going to go through this very quickly. 7-map pool down to 1. Consulate will be our decider, and that was on secret. They banned Clubhouse to take us to Consulate. This is going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Hap, what is your take? Is this the right decision?
I kind of hope to see Chalet, but unfortunately we're not going to be seeing that right here today. Well, it's already first game, but yeah, Consulate. It tells me Secret wants to go for aggressive plays, repels, trying to outgun G2 rather than outplay them. So it kind of, I guess, it kind of can show you the style and the gameplay direction that Secret wants to take with this renewed roster.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a very aggressive map. You're looking at a map where you can take control on this without ever entering on some of the sites as well. And it's something where if you have that little bit of tenacity about your play, if you have those angles controlled and you have that done in the playbook, sometimes things start to feed themselves into themselves. Clubhouse is set in stone. Clubhouse is well delivered, and Clubhouse was a good map for G2. So I think with the more changes that they've gone through, Secret's side, bringing in obviously the 2 players from NA back over here, I think Consul is probably a more decisive choice in that they're pushing things a little bit more. All right, we think we can take this aggro.
In the early days of 2020, Shate was known for, when he still played on what was this roster, was smacking people out of spawn, playing Echo back in the day on a tiny little boost that you could do in Spiral. But I'm wondering how Secret will fight today against G2. Lots of expectations and lots of pressure on both of these teams, but it's time for us to collect our visas, ladies and gentlemen, from the French consulate, something Jess and I will be doing in the very near future. I hope so very much. It's the map I dread the most, but I love the most. Who would have thought? We are ready for it. Our lobby's in. It's G2 versus Team Secret, and it's no secret that we're going to have a ton of fun. Doesn't you? Ace, all yours.
I just imagine every single time that Milos hears the word consulate, it's just like internal screaming. Don't worry, boys. We're nearly there. We're almost back in France. We're looking forward, of course, to getting back into the studio. That will come soon. But for now, we still get to see some wicked Siege. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the first day. This is a real great chance to see what this newly shaped G2 looks like. The team that won the finals back in January. How are they going to continue as they are? And let's get it out of the way now, Tim, right? Otherwise, we'll be talking about it all game long. Pengu isn't playing. We get it, guys. But there is a big play you've got to look out for on this team. Kayak, the yak attack, as I love screaming every single time that he pops off. There's some big things to look forward to from this guy.
There certainly is, Des, and I think you're absolutely right. It's something, that we've discussed. As we've said, Pengu, as much as we love him, as much as he's been a huge part of this game, we have to start focusing on the here and now. And for G2, that is Kayak. And he is a different player, bringing a different skill set, and he has to forge his own path. And that is exactly what we are going to see him start doing today against Team Secret. So the bans start raining in for us here on Consulate. We're going to see Thatcher go by the wayside to begin with, so nothing drastically out of the ordinary. And then the Nomad ban as well. So quite interesting one coming in from G2 there. Might just signal a little bit of aggression potentially, wanting the option to get out of those windows and barricades maybe.
Possibly. I mean, it's always a ban that we see taken away on this map when you do want teams to play that more aggressive style, because like we've often referred to, you're in a spot with the Nomad where you could basically lock down 3 windows with the air jabs and have one a player, normally a Thermite or something, sat a bit further afield and watching other windows, and mean that kind of more dynamic cover for windows to ensure the rest of your team can keep themselves busy on the rappel or whatever else needs to be involved. Those 2 bans, though, are really, really interesting. Both the utility operators taken away. I expect them, probably like we've seen throughout the day, that we will see Echo get brought along by at least one of these teams in a couple of the rounds. We'll see how things shape out, but for now, we are heading downstairs to kick things off in Garage and Cafeteria. And today, there has been such a lean towards Mute and Mozzie. I swear we've seen this brought along in at least 2 rounds in every single map.
Well, it's such a powerful combination, isn't it? If you look at their gadgets, they really do sort of work well in tandem with each other. So, Mozzie, generally speaking, obviously the Pest is intended to catch drones. That's its primary function. It catches drones and then you can use them for yourself as a defender. But really, at this level of play, you don't expect to see those drones driven into a Mozzie Pest all too often. So what you're expecting to see the Mozzie used for more than anything is actually area denial of information. So it's about strategically placing those pests just to prevent drones being able to gain access to an area. Somewhere like Consulate, that could be up on top floor potentially. Couple of Mozzie Pests, couple of mute jammers, and all of a sudden you've got an entire floor of the building that has very little information, meaning the attackers have to go in, they have to put boots on the ground, and they have to face check areas. And that is when you make your challenges. That's when you try to take your gunfights at an advantage. But it's not always quite as straightforward as that. But that is why they are a good combination of operators.
Absolutely. A number of teams have made good use of it on the roam across the map, and that seems to be completely unchanging on this map. As you can see here, wonderfully highlighted on your screen, there are 3 secret members currently roaming on the second floor, despite the defense being on the downstairs. We spoke about this earlier on in the BDS Fatality game, that when you only have 1 or 2 members on site, it can open you up to getting rushed. And straight away, G2 are piling their focus into this garage doorway. Maybe not as quick as they would have liked here, as I think they just about messed up getting this open now. So they're in a spot now where there's drones coming out. They need to find out where these electro claws are and clear them out. Kanto's going to try and do his best to get in. He is inside with flashes covering him in, so nothing's going to shoot this out. How do you miss? Thank God he had an extra charge left in there, or that could have got very hairy very quickly. But inside about 45 seconds, the garage door has been opened up. And that's dealt with, of course, those electro claws, and now should lead to the round becoming a little more opened up, and no doubt some kills starting to be exchanged back and forth in the next 30 seconds or so.
Very easily done with the Twitch drone, but as you said, Des, very lucky that there was another charge available, because they do, of course, tick up over time now, so they're not just constantly available. It's not like you've just got a set amount of ammunition. Now that is a much better shot from Kanto out of the Twitch drone there. He's going to drop that mirror window, and as you can see, the wall was left soft to the left of it, and Sleben was just going to play there. He has no option other than to drop to his belly and just prone crawl out of there, because he does not want any part of that anymore. He's had to dip himself away. He was looking to make challenges through that soft wall. Now in goes Kayak.
Oh, wow.
He's getting the diffuser down, Des, already. Virtue's in there to cover him. He's going to be a very important position at this minute on the sledge. He's going to take a chip damage off of Gomfi, and that is diffuser planted. Now this has just become one of the hardest retakes in all of Siege, and you're about to see why, as member after member of Team Secret just drop one to another to the G2 bullets that rain in through the garage double door. Uno finds Prano, 4 versus 1. Citizen to finish things off from Yellow Stairs, and what a round from G2. Des, they're back.
Oh boy, that was ferocious and precise in execution. The flurry, the avalanche of drones that descended in that downstairs site. They said, forget about what's going on upstairs. We're not even interested. We are looking downstairs. They had drones flying in. Kanto's Twitch drones were well covered by utility. The wall was opened up, and they commit to go for the plan off the back of more utility coming in. And the one mistake that I think some teams would make in that kind of situation, and we have seen it historically, is getting your plan to see forward as they go in for that plant behind the white van. But no, what we had the guys doing here was either using the flash grenades a bit further to make sure that aggression wasn't going to come out. You had Virtue with the sledge literally stood on top of Kayak, challenging Gomfi, who was stood inside a cafeteria. They just had everything squared up there to make sure there was no possible upset. They had everything accounted for, clinical and clean by G2. That's the stuff that you love to see.
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful. Virtue was critical in getting that diffuser down there. Gomfi looked to make the challenge. That's exactly what he was positioned to do. But he just couldn't go near it, because as soon as he tried, Virtue just threw a couple of bullets into him, and it was all about preservation of life at that point. There was absolutely no choice for him. So well played from G2. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do here, going back to attack the same site again. So they really can't get away with doing exactly the same thing again. It's unlikely that they're going to be able to just get Kayak into that same spot and get the diffuser down. So this is going to be an interesting point for us now, where we can see what sort of depth this G2 team has. You know, how quickly has Kayak fit in there, and how quickly have they been able to develop multiple takes for the same sites.
I didn't actually catch the full count last round, but there are 4 C4s on side for this one for Secret. And I'm thinking here, this just screams the denial game. Now, G2 didn't give them any room to be able to do that in the last round, but here I'm thinking it's got to be a big part of it is getting those C4s come swinging out as Kayak tries to go in for the plant. But for G2, business as usual. It worked so well last time. Why break it down again? And here, they've even got rid of one of the electro claws without having to get one of those drones inside. That's the dream for them. And now we can get the Twitch drone inside to get rid of the next one. Honestly, the fact and how well they're using these, they're not kind of Hail Marying them to get rid of one gadget. They're actually playing around the Twitch drones and committing utility to make sure they're successful. A really interesting adaptation.
45 seconds in and having that wall open is absolutely amazing progress here on Garage. It just gives you so much time to make the defenders sweat, to force them to move around in sight, and also to keep them away from the white van. That's now basically all of the defenders forced back beyond that B-bomb. As we can see there, they're all back in security and cafeteria there, and that is, it's not an ideal position. You're having to take long-range gunfights, and the big problem, as you've said, there's lots of C4 there for denial, but how do you get it down to those plant spots if you're stood in cafeteria? It becomes a very difficult throw. It's, you know, the distance becomes an issue, the potential for it being shot out becomes an issue. It's not an easy game there. Now then, this is interesting. A bit of a hot drop coming in from Virtue. They're moving in through the rear side, however, completely shut down by Sleben and Draven. Uno, however, gets hive, and the push continues in from the front side, but this time Secret are much more prepared. Kanto gets himself a kill onto Gomfi, which traded out an earlier hit onto Uno, and that leaves us 2 versus 3 in a matter of about 25 seconds.
But Tim, look who's left. It's Citizen and Kanto. Could you imagine 2 players that you would want left alive when it comes to a guns-up bullfight? That's the way this is starting to set up. It is 3 versus 2 for Secret. They have got the advantage with 2 C4s still on side, and with a mirror window to play behind, definitely not looking as bad as maybe as it would have in the last round. Let's not forget how early it was shot out last time round, but still loses the gunfight. How has Kanto won that against a mirror window of all things? A high rate of fire of the F2 doing work, but it's down to Citizen all by himself now. One playing out towards red, I'm pretty sure we can't see, and one behind a mirror window with 25 seconds left to play. Prano's going to step himself out, bring down Citizen, and take round number 2. That rush really not paying off the way that G2 would have liked. However, as you said earlier on, Ace, hindsight is 2020. If they'd have caught a Secret with their pants down with that rush, we would be having a very different conversation right now.
Certainly would, and it just goes to, you know, to show that Secret have got the ability there to adapt on the fly and to respond very quickly to a threat. They were alert to the danger, whether they heard that hatch break or, you know, whatever it was, they went in and just got absolutely no joy. Virtue just being completely cut down as he went through the door, and it's a good job that Secret did, because otherwise they find themselves probably 5 versus 3, and all of a sudden the defense is caught in a pinch between 2 attacking teams, and it is a major problem for them. But hey ho, they got the round, and moving into round 3, it is now 1 apiece. And this time they're going to head to press and lobby. Rather than going up to the top floor, they've decided to take that mid-floor site. Now, this is an interesting choice here.
I do like this site. The number of times that we've seen teams do something crazy, like trying to rappel into a window, for example, to really spice it up, or of course, assault the upstairs is often the go-to setup that we see for a lot of teams on the defense. Does lead to a bit of an assault from the attacking team, either coming in from admin or yellow stairs. So it does bring a lot of the map into play to even think about going for a plant in the first place. Secret, as you're probably going to expect, will form a bit of a fortress here inside the bathroom on the ground floor. As a nice central location to the whole floor itself, you border onto so many rooms, including the actual site itself, that you can then effectively defend from that room. Makes total sense, and it just forms a bit of a bunker that G2 are going to have to try and crack.
10 seconds into the round, and I imagine we will see slightly slower progress this time coming out of G2. Last time we saw them absolutely rushing that garage wall and getting it open, whereas this time they need to be a little bit more cautious. They need to get that top floor cleared out. I say they're going to be a bit slower, but we see Prano down already on the Mozzie. Not sure exactly what's happened to him there, possibly caught out from the copy window maybe, but one way or another he's down. He's going to be collected, left on 20 health now, as it is Hive getting him back to his feet, and both of them scurry away and down yellow stairs. Yep, it's
through
the
copy,
from copy window. I was
straight down
right.
to the yellow stairs, yeah.
Virtue straight through. What an angle.
I mean, if it does the damage and you aren't being aware of that, it's going to catch you out sometimes. So unlucky, I guess. But at the very least, back on his feet. But as you said earlier on the broadcast as well, Ace, one shot from death here. It means Prano needs to be a little more cautious in terms of how his approach plays out. Outside of that little scrap to begin with, there's been nothing else really going on around the map in terms of members dying or much utility being expended. I'm still once again looking at the C4s on the side of Team Secret here. 4 of them not really looking to play from below and use them here. And I think the same as when they were defending Garage in the last 2 rounds. It's much more looking towards that horizontal defense and the denial of plant rather than strictly trying to contest directly with gunfights.
Uno just going to be trying to feed information into his team, bringing along Zero as well. We've seen a couple of those SAM cams just getting deployed around the map. So Uno feeding in a lot of information to his team. Now, Virtue feeling comfortable enough to move down the spiral stairs, which would tell me they are confident that top floor has been cleared out and possession of that area is theirs. We've got 3 pushing from the front door. Citizen just up inside of CEO, I believe, at the minute, looking to maybe apply a little bit of vertical pressure. Now, Sleben finds himself locked in the bathroom here. He's looking to just fight above the top of that mirror window where it's not on a reinforced wall. It is a soft wall, so he will be able to shoot through and exchange fire onto that front door. But he needs to be careful because obviously those bullets work in both directions. Now, once again, Kayak's managed to get himself inside of sight. Ooh. There's going to be no stopping him here. The diffuser goes down once again, and G2 once again retire back and look to use the long angles and those scopes on the assault rifles to hold Team Secret at bay. And this is again an unlikely situation for Team Secret to be able to recover.
Oh, it's so unfortunate because, again, it's another say. Oh my god, the butcher of the top floor and Citizen with 3 kills before they can even think about any kind of retake. He just puts them all in the dirt. The coffins are in. The top's sealed on with nails. There's nothing more to be done. They've been absolutely cleaned out with a lovely golden flawless round emblazoned across your screens. Man, I'm shocked that Secret thought that would be enough. A single C4 to try and deny them with no one looking to threaten onto the doorway inside the lobby means every single day that G2 are going to do the same thing that happened in round number 1. You get the plant down, you have someone covering the planter, watching for anyone that tries to challenge, watching for C4s. It is textbook for G2 at this point.
I'm just questioning the site choice a little bit there, Des. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying those, sort of off-sites, if you want to call them that. I know Press and Lobby sees a reasonable amount of play. They're going back there again. But, I've just got to question that a little bit more so in this round, to be honest, because they just didn't really seem anywhere near a successful defense of it that time around. That's the honest truth of it. G2 dealt with the top floor very quickly. Hyphen Prano forced back down those stairs, the yellow stairs, very, very quickly, and that was the top floor control. And as soon as you've got that, you can reasonably confidently plant inside of that double door because it can't really be challenged from anywhere other than the spiral stairs at that point. You can't get the angle from bathroom. If anybody tries to actually push through double door, as we see just at the bottom of your screen there, if anybody tries to push through there, you have somebody outside who's covering. You have somebody outside covering the spiral stairs, which is exactly what happened. And you've got nobody above to try and take a vertical angle onto the planter. So, as you say, that the entire denial strategy came down to trying to launch a C4 through the hatch. And, it's a real Hail Mary play, and they've paid the price.
You saw his head hive. Surely you saw something. I don't think he does. Must have loosely seen something, I think. Maybe a pixel or 2 off.
He's certainly keen on watching the angle, isn't he? There's got to be a reason. What he's obviously got a sniff. He's got a sniff of him there, and he's wanting to try and pick up that pixel peak. But I think he's going to be out of luck now, as Kantor seems to have moved away. He's just holding that bathroom window instead now. G2 a little bit slower this time. We're a minute in. They certainly don't have any top floor control as of yet. Hive has dipped back down off the top of those spiral stairs. And as I say that, it looks like G2 are going to move in and look to try and clear Prano out now. He's the last one alive on the top floor. If he can take a man or 2 with him, waste another minute off the clock here, that will be a successful round for him.
Interesting. I decided to look up the stats for it actually as well. And in stage 2 of the European League, we didn't see Constant all that much, and the site itself wasn't giga popular. It's kind of sat at second, very high defensive win rate, mind you. And the same sort of story in stage 1. It was the third most popular site with 21 players. Garage Cafeteria second with 24, and CEO Meeting with 26. And I think I know now, we understand now that a lot of teams are somewhat worried about CEO Meeting. It's not really I don't want to say not the most popular site, but it's just the constant fear of the windows, the vertical play that can come in. We've seen all kinds of magic. But here comes the execution now stepping out of G2 with those ace charges coming in from below just to say, no, you can't stay in bathroom. You need to move away. And we're more than happy to give you some trouble. Dare you try and push back around. Uno manages to take out the mirror window as well. Team Secret has scuttled away to safety. High finds the opening kill onto Kanto. 5 versus 4 and 45 seconds to play. And surely here you've got the side of G2 thinking about how do we get up from the downstairs here and start thinking about that plant.
Hife's had a great round so far, just switching his position from mid floor to top floor and picking up kills along the way as well. And as you can see, G2 still labouring towards that top floor because they know that they need it. And this is the point I was trying to make the last time around. If you give up the top floor, the plant is more than possible. If you can hold on to it, it becomes a lot more difficult. But as they are pushed away, Kayak has the opportunity to get in there. He's going to be kept safe by the keys there. He's about to play a tune for them as he steps out and gets a double along with Citizen and Uno. How have G2 turned this around? They've managed to get themselves control of Piano and taken absolutely full advantage of it, and all of a sudden, from sitting pretty Sleben, he is now in a difficult situation. 1 versus 3. He sees the diffuser. He just tries to bait it out, but he knows that there's potentially a man underneath, and that is exactly where there is somebody looking to protect. Look at this. They've got him sandwiched top and bottom. There's one above, one below. He manages to find the kill onto Uno, but that does not take away the problem that is above him. That's Citizen. He's looking to make a challenge. Citizen once again. The butcher of the top floor shuts him down, and that's going to be G2 taking another round.
Unbelievable. And I know we said we wouldn't reference it too much, but look no further, guys. If you want some proof that the Yak can do magic there, gets the plant down, comes off and kills 2 as the only man on site. Yes, he had some support from above, but my word, did he just do enough and make a name for himself. That's the Yak attack that we're always talking about. Let's see how this ball's on, because as it stands, G2 are running away with this. Bar one round where they had that questionable rush. They were trying to catch Secret off guard. Were looking for the player behind the mirror window. He wasn't there. He'd moved over to the rotation to the left instead. There's been nothing wrong with G2's play. They look absolutely pristine, I think, so far. And even when they're down in numbers, a 3 versus 5, they still manage to turn it. And maybe this is down to what we've seen from a couple of teams today, where Secret are still gelling a little bit. I know Hap's been taking the term that we've used for a while now of honeymoon period for a lot of teams. That excitement of having new members on side, new ideas, excitement, energy about the possibilities that might come in for the team. Either way you look at it, there are going to be some teams with issues that still need to be ironed out over time.
They certainly are. What I'm really enjoying out of Kayak so far, Des, is a really great display of game sense early on here. We've had 4 rounds. We've had multiple success. We've had 3 successful plants, and he's just showing the ability to know exactly when to go and where to go to get it down. It is surgical precision from him, enabling him to activate that diffuser. And G2 playing a very objective focus game at the minute. Now, interestingly, we've got an adaptation from Team Secret. I like to see this. They've gone back to Garage and they've brought a slightly different lineup this time. Instead of the Moze, Prano has brought the Arune. So they're going to be playing the laser gates. They've got 1 on the triple wall to try and make it difficult to move through. It's all intended to slow G2 down and prevent them having that free access into site. As it is, they've got a number of drones sat waiting outside, and they'll just send the drones in through those laser gates to close them off. But it is still utility that is being used. It is still time. It is still not as straightforward as it has been previously. 45 seconds last time, Des. That wall was opened and they were on the way in through it. Now we're looking towards a minute.
I'm just thinking what use of these laser gates be once the wall's been opened up as it has now. You know, they're going to have to worry about dealing with it. Are they expecting it to be massively impactful for them? Because, of course, we haven't seen Arune all that much, and we've seen some wild uses for... Good night! I was going to say we've seen some wild uses, but that's something wild in itself. And Citizen's like cool as a cucumber, like, yeah, I'm what? Back to business, looking at the garage door. Unbelievable.
Honestly, all that had been going through my mind there is get me into the match replay. Get me out of this. I need to clip that.
I mean, let's not lie, Ace. You put a little match replay up yesterday, and there are a few question marks around your second kill, if I remember.
Don't you worry about my second kill, Des. The only thing that matters is that it was a kill. That's what you've got to remember.
That's where I get told that in ranked all the time.
By an inch or by a mile.
5 versus 4 then. With the Capital on side, there's a real good execution opportunity here. And I do like how G2 have kind of varied things up a little bit here. And are thinking, you know what, fine, we can just go for an execute. We can play around the smoke. It's not a problem. My only concern for them... Oh, not again! Twice in one round, guys! Jesus!
Absolutely no fear on the side of G2. They're becoming quite dangerous at the minute because they're playing with so much confidence at this point. But a couple of kills back for Team Secret will do them the world of good. Draven and Secret managing to just level things up 3-3 now. And that's going to be Sleben finding another onto Citizen. He's having a great debut, to be fair. 5-3 so far and really stepping up for Team Secret when they need it. Getting some importantly timed kills. They just need that extra mile. They just need to find those few inches that will allow them to take the rounds. Now they've got Virtue at the front with the diffuser in hand. Kanto Raquete comes to try and soften them up from the rear side with a kill onto Prano, and that now leaves Sleben and Draven pinched in between two threats here. They've got Virtue and they've got Kanto. Now then, can Kanto move through and find a kill into security? Virtue finds it instead by Kanto, forcing him to move around, but Draven gets a double! He must have had Virtue downed. He finds Kanto with a headshot, and that is going to be an unreal finish from Draven. This is shaping up to be the match of the night.
I think in a way, if you want to see why Mira so often gets banned, especially here in Europe, look no further than these defenses downstairs. And yes, G2 have dealt well with it once in the first round, but that round there to me is the prime example of why so many teams hate playing against Mira unless you have an easy way to deal with those Mira windows. Seven just sat behind it the whole round, didn't have to move anywhere and still picked up 2-3 kills for himself. Same sort of story for Draven later on. I understand the frustration, I think, and you can see maybe why there was that rush attempt that came out of G2 earlier on, but my God, have they got to be frustrated with those.
I think Team Secret won't feel too hard done to at the minute. 2-3 on the scoreboard from their perspective, and G2 looking very strong so far. So I think Team Secret will be pretty happy with their performance today. They are hanging on at this point in time, and they will be getting their opportunity on attack before too long, as this is their final defensive round. So round 6 is going to see us go to Archives and Tellers. It is the split site here on Consulate, and very much like Press and Lobby, you're going to see a strong top floor presence, I would expect, from Team Secret. They're going to want to keep hold of admin for a period of time at least, because in terms of attacking this site, if you're saying to me, Ace, what are we going to see? What are we going to see from G2 here? Well, more often than not, they will try to get control of admin, try and get basically vertical control above the Tellers side of the site, and then they can move down, take control of visas, and look to get a plant down inside of Tellers. The defenders, meanwhile, will hold on to Archives down in the basement, and usually try for a vertical denial of that plant attempt with C4s. As you can see, we've got 5 of them on the board. Absolutely tons of explosive power, and that's exactly what they are for. A couple of those may be used up in attempts of vertical kills whilst G2 try to take control of admin, but largely they are there to try and stop that diffuser being activated on the ground. Now, there is an alternative attack for G2. There is the option, of course, of going in through Garage, working across bottom floor straight into Archives and getting a plant down there instead. But from the way they're shaping up, it certainly looks like admin is the initial target, and then top-down control is gained.
Always talk about this kind of preference between teams or even regions as to where you start off on the attacks. As you have very duly noted, it is admin to kick things off with that vertical play not long after, as you also just said. And I think for Secret, the fact that we are trying something a bit different probably is going to help, given how crazy the downstairs has been so far for them, especially inside a garage. Of course, having one that you do have to move away. They've now got rid of the mirror windows, those cursed mirror windows that are giving them so much hassle. It has taken about a minute or so, but they do have control of admin. That gives them that solid base now to start looking forward from. But the comparison between yellow and admin very commonly is that yellow is harder to take early, but gives you more ease later on. Whereas admin's quite easy to take early on because of the number of windows, the one inside a copy as well. But it's a little bit harder to move forward from later into the round.
Halfway through the round then, we see G2 looking to get themselves inside of Visa as well. We've got the top floor control. Now, there is still Gomfi up at the top of the spiral stairs. There's still Prano over in the connector. So they need to be very, very aware of these two threats here. If G2 don't pay due diligence, if they don't give this sufficient attention, they might just find themselves caught out drastically here. Now, Citizen seems to be aware of somebody over in that direction, but there is still a lot of focus going vertically at this point in time. Kayak's taken a lot of damage. Now Virtue will get himself downed. Not sure whether he's going to be picked up or not. He certainly won't, as Sleben hits him with some of the explosives. Hive gets in with one for himself onto Kayak, and very suddenly we find ourselves in a 5 versus 3. Citizen, however, goes in and does Ash things, finding a kill onto Gomfe, but Prano meanwhile finds one of the other fraggers, taking Kanto out of the round. 2 versus 4, and things looking pretty good for Team Secret here.
They are. I mean, the problem is Citizen still stands and 9 kills on him. You've got Uno in support as well. He's currently trying to go for a bit of a fight, but not quite winning it out just yet. Prano backing away just by a couple of pixels to give himself enough room to be able to get back and breathe. Brings him down, finds a double kill. It's all on Citizen to do what he can. He finds one, but in a 1 versus 3 with 5 seconds to play, I think we all know exactly how these rounds conclude. It's going to be a 3-3 split at the half. You'd probably sit here and say that's okay for either side. 3 attacking rounds on Consulate, kind of expected. What's going to matter now is how G2 opt to defend.
I think at this point, to be honest, I'm maybe a little bit happier if I'm sat on the Team Secret side. Both teams have played extremely well, but G2 have at times looked absolutely electric. They've looked terrifying. And the fact that Team Secret have come away with an even split on the half, I think they're going to be pretty happy with that. Let's not forget, this is a team that is in transition. There's a number of new players. There's new, backroom staff. There's been shifts all over the place. And to come in and stand up to not just G2, but a very clinical G2 side so far is a great performance from them.
I think it's maybe, the frustration of the mirror window in a couple of rounds did kind of bite into G2 a little bit, but they've shown that execution potential that I was really hoping was going to be retained. After Pengu's departure, I think it still does hold, which is fantastic. Not all to be doubted, with Kayak filling a very similar role. And in fact, on the 6on6 podcast the other day, when Pengu was talking about the problems that maybe G2 had faced, why they couldn't quite get back to glory, he said we haven't had a true support main on the team. No one wanted to really fill that role. He just fell into it. You've now got a support main on the team, an IGL and support main in Kayak, that's really going to unlock this team more, I think, with more coordination and really enable these fraggers to fly in. Not saying that he's solely responsible for Citizen currently dropping 10 kills, but it's definitely gone away towards enabling it.
And that's what a good support player does, Des. It's all about giving those heavy fraggers the opportunity, the freedom to get out and do what they do best. Citizen, you don't need to worry about the diffuser. You don't need to worry about breaching anything. You don't need to worry about clearing ADSs, because I'm going to do all of that. Just go and get kills. Just go and click on heads. That's all you need to do. And when that opportunity presents itself, Citizen is 10-2. It speaks for itself.
It makes you just think of when you play rank with Afi, and it's a very similar arrangement. You're there on the support, the drones, giving the calls, holding F on site and saying, Afi, just go and be a fragger, mate. Go and do your thing. And Gomfi's trying to do just that now, charging his way straight in underneath a hail of bullets. Hasn't been killed out, but now they've got some control on the downstairs. Got to be very wary about this roaming. Kanto has also come down to match and may yet play spoiler in this round, with Virtue also joining him on the downstairs defense.
Certainly might. Now we can see G2 just rotating around above us. They've got a couple underneath as well that are looking to find these roamers. Kanto is looking for Gomfi right now. I think he's aware that there's one on yellow stairs. It could be Gomfi that's the problem, but it's not. Prano actually manages to hit a shot long range from the yellow stairs and take Kanto out. And Virtue thinks, you know what? I've had enough of that fight. This is a bit rich for me. And he gets out of there, living to fight another day. He's looking to maybe attack from a different angle as pressure mounts on the yellow stairs. Gomfi will also be able to just help mount that attack and help that push. This can be the difficulty with the press lobby site when attacking through garage. It's then about that movement up to the next floor, rather than, it sort of feels more natural to fall down when you've got that vertical pressure and you've got that aggression coming from above. It's almost like your weight of your team is bearing down on them in a sort of mental sense, but moving up can be a bit more difficult, and Kayak's going to make it a little tricky with a nice headshot through to the vending machine there.
I do find it odd how both teams have attacked starting downstairs on this site rather than the more conventional go upstairs, get the vertical control, and then look to go for a planting piano with the vertical cover. It's much more about the cover from downstairs. You just open up the floor with things like the Ash or the Buck or whatever else that you need. So it's a very interesting twist compared to what we're used to seeing, but I'm quite enjoying it so far.
It's great. It brings you, I think it brings a lot more gunfights. People seem to defend the downstairs in the basement. They just seem to defend it a little bit harder. Top floor, it's a bit of a habit to sort of drop away from it and give that position up. But it gets to be a bit more tooth and nail down in the basement now. Citizen, he's going to get finished off there. Gomfe just going absolutely wild on this round. Draven finishes Kayak off, and that is a good round for Team Secret. And for the first time so far tonight, Team Secret find themselves in the lead.
Don't think anyone strictly expected this to be the case coming into today, especially given how the first couple of rounds started out. It looked like it was going to be Secret getting stomped all over by G2, but they are warming into this game a little bit, and the new additions, you're starting to see them come into life. Slevin especially, a player that you probably more regard as being a bit of an out-and-out fragger in terms of getting around the map and doing things, had for, up until that point, been very defensive, playing on things like the mirror. Maybe that's now starting to change. Speaking of change, up to the top floor we go, and the Wamai and the Jaeger being brought along, a combo that you don't see all that much anymore these days since the changes came through to both of those operators.
Certainly is a little bit of a change to the norm. We'll see exactly how that gets utilised. Now, up on the top floor, we've got two attacking pushers generally available to us here. One will focus around the yellow stairs, which is out to the far left of your map. It's now the right-hand side of your map. And down directly to the east or the far right of your map, there is also admin, which we've seen a bit of action in once or twice. Thank you, medics there. The big room at the bottom of the map there. So one of two pushers will come through either of those directions. Usually there will be an effort to control yellow stairs or an effort to control admin. And once you have that, it's about basically pushing across to the next nearest bomb site, trying to close the attackers out of it and get the diffuser down on the ground. A yellow stairs push will generally be accompanied by somebody trying to play on the console windows on the rappel to just try and do exactly that, force the defenders further back into the map connector and beyond, so that you can get in and get that diffuser down. But there's a lot of work to do on this top floor before you can think about getting that diffuser down.
It's kind of become the story of the map, I think, between these two for, well, the whole series so far, as it is about the work around the map rather than just the site that you're trying to focus on. Admittedly, downstairs it's been very lateral. It's been C4s looking horizontally. It's been the mirror windows trying to defend against garage door. That's been about it, but as the matches wore on, you felt it kind of open up a little bit more, and there's more focus on what's going on elsewhere on the map at the same time. I like for Secret how it's been a bit more patient so far, but now it's about really starting to step up the pressure and putting themselves ahead of G2 a bit further. One round's great, but we all know how short that lead can be lived with one more round. Suddenly we're at 4-4, and you're 4 rounds away potentially from going to overtime. That'll be the third of the night.
I tell you what, Des, I'd quite like to see it here as well. I don't want to necessarily...
I'll take it as a good way to end day one. I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want to push it on the teams, but this game is, as I said, for me so far, it's probably the match of the night. Look at that from Prano! Absolutely deleting Uno from the yellow stairs with a fantastic nade. We just saw great teamwork there to burn out those ADS utilities and just create the path for Prano to put the man down. Now Citizen jumps out, takes Sleben, but Gomfi is there ready and waiting. Joe's open and takes a chunk out of Citizen. 1 minute 15 left on the clock, and round 8 is going wild, Des.
Well, Yak's finding himself getting shot down a little bit. Not quite enough to kill him, then we'll finish him off, but down to about 60 HP. We'll take one more, 2 more bullets away from the amount required to kill him when the eventual push comes through. 4 versus 3 for Secret, 60 seconds remaining. The numbers advantage is there, but we always speak about the limited number of mistakes you can make as that clock gets closer to 0. The members of G2 currently pulled out more towards the east. You've actually got Virtue sat inside of site itself, but the other two are backed a little bit further away, expecting that Secret will get inside the site and start thinking about this plant behind a desk. They've got themselves set up. 30 seconds to play. It's do or die surely, but Prano's underneath, and Virtue tries to drop out into safety. He knew that he was cornered, and what does Secret do? We say, we know you're cornered, we know that you need to move. Let's get under the hatch and wait for him to come. 4 versus 2 and only 20 seconds remain.
Secret doing a great job of remaining patient on this map. They just wait for their opportunities and then they strike, and it's absolutely fantastic from them. They're not trying to snatch at rounds. They're not trying to force the play. They're quite happy to take their time. Now, the diffuser will be planted by Hive, planted in an off spot once again, so it wasn't a case of an easy vertical denial. Gonfi gonna shut down Kanto. Leaves us 1 versus 3. Prano picks up Kayak, trying to do everything he could, but it was just too much to ask. And that is going to be another round going to Team Secret. They've now got themselves a little bit of breathing space. 5-3 here. And this could be a big upset on Playday 1.
They kind of paralyzed G2, I think. Once they got them down to 3 members, and G2 were like, well, one of us is stuck isolated on site. Only option is to drop, and you drop straight into Prano. Unfortunate. The other two are then forced a little bit further back because of the window-based play coming out of Secret. So really well composed by them. That's putting them ahead of G2. And I think fair to say, this would turn out to be the upset of the night if Secret can bring down G2.
I think it certainly would. I mean, looking at the matchups beforehand, it's not to say that coming into it necessarily you would have just looked at it and said, yep, G2 will just walk over Team Secret, because Secret are a very good team and they've brought in some, excellent sort of reinforcement players. But that said, we've had the changes on the side of Team Secret, and I think after round 1, you would have looked at the way that G2 played, and they were just absolutely clinical and dominant for the first 4 rounds. They came away 3-1, but Team Secret have just worked hard there. They've flipped the script, they've turned it round, they've really got themselves back into the game here, and honestly, they've been a pleasure to watch so far. Gonfi, Sleben particularly, absolutely going crazy so far.
This is not all designed to be a slight on the other members of Secret that were here previously, thinking about like Patbull, for example, Shate from last season. But I remember commenting to a couple of people in the middle of last season that Shate had the right idea in terms of aggression, just couldn't quite deliver the kills or the necessary high moments that you need from your fraggers and your entry players sometimes, whereas it does feel in this game. We've seen Sleben doing work, we've seen Gonfi in a couple of rounds stepping up as well. They are bringing to the team what maybe was missing previously, and you put that alongside someone like Prano, who has been having a field day with these grenades so far. You're starting to see the real potential of what this team could become, and like any other, as we've said all night long, all of these teams that have made changes, it's not necessarily going to be an instant success. It might take a few weeks, but at least Secret are starting strong. Draven maybe a little bit less so in this round as Kanto finds him at a window.
G2 fighting back then, get themselves the man advantage here in round 9, also taking down the Buck, which could be an important factor. Of course, we've seen a lot of verticality used so far to apply pressure, so without being able to do that the same, Team Secret might just have to find another way. Now, Kanto on the Melusi, he's going to hold his position for the time being inside a meeting there. He's going to look to continue challenging. He certainly doesn't want to get himself caught out and may take the option to drop the hatch there, but not for the time being. He's just going to keep himself in or around. There we go. Finally does take the step forward and will drop down. But remembering, we're all the way down in the basement, and with half of the round gone, Team Secret are still working on the top floor. It is not to say they don't have enough time, but what it is to say is that they need to get a wriggle on this. They need to get moving here, because otherwise they're going to find themselves short of time when it comes to their execution. And they've got another problem, and it's a problem in the shape of Kanto Raketti, who seems to be starting to move around this map and kill at will.
This is the problem. He's now got 2 kills, one from a window, the second looking out through Yellow Stairs doorway. The fact that they are still even looking at entering the building in the first place, and he's able just to walk up and find kills like that, uncontested, for free, not being caught up by drones, is a real kicker. Yes, well done. You found him. Now you know that someone's pushing you. I think he's getting pushed potentially from both directions here. Tries to run across, but gets shut down. And the team kill comes out. We've been speaking about the praises from Gonfi and Sleben, but sadly there's a team kill between the two of them. A C4 comes through. Uno is down, but Prano is all by himself. Got to play for that KD and picking up a single kill, but now with about 3 HP left on side. Fair to say the round is done and dusted. That should bring us up to 5-4, but it will still be Team Secret in the lead.
Certainly will, and I tell you what, Des, if we just have a look back at how that round went, there's a little bit of me that wishes that Uno play had gone differently. I love that he just watched the Gemini from Iano come running into the bathroom, did not react to it, and just waited in his corner. And he was being pushed by Gonfi on the Ash, and had the Gemini not turned around and spotted him, they may not have been aware he was there. It was a heads-up play by Uno not to react to the deception of the Iana. And I love to see those plays where players just don't react to a drone in front of them. We saw an absolutely fantastic one in Yukin at the weekend, if you remember. I can't remember who it was now, but there was a man at the bottom of White Stairs on Oregon, and the drone went past him, didn't check his corner, and he actually got his teammate at the top of stairs to shoot it out. So they were completely unaware of his presence, and he got himself 2 kills on the back. And sometimes ignoring those drones can be a fantastic play, and it was very close for Uno there.
Lack of information can really sting, and it's an old mantra I think that was actually peddled by G2, was information's only good for about 5 seconds, or it's no good at all if you don't actually collect it in the first place, and things like that can happen. Remember seeing it in Yukin actually last year when Tyrant, playing inside a bar on Clubhouse, sat and waited as 2 or 3 drones went past him, popped out late round as the attacking team, I think it was Na'Vi, was squaring up to try and go for a drop through Moto Hatch and killed 3. Like, it really can end rounds just by forgetting to turn your drone around 90 degrees and check a corner.
It can. It can be the difference. You know, the small differences like that in information and in being thorough is what puts teams at this level. You know, the fact that the Gemini drone has been turned around and spotted Uno, that is the difference. You know, other teams may well have breezed in there. Yeah, bathroom's clear, close the drone, in they go, and they've got 2 deaths. And then the round looks a lot, potentially a lot different. And it was, it was great play, and it's what can make the difference sometimes. Now, Sleben, he's going to start us off here. He's just got his drone in position. He's looking to get inside that top floor if he can, but obviously the Mozzie pests are just making that difficult as well. We are on the split site here, Archives and Tellers, so Uno's going to set himself up downstairs. He will look to maintain his position for as long as possible for that vertical denial up into Tellers if the time comes. Kanto's going to be the one to try and hold down Admin for the time being. He needs to be careful of that man on the upside down rappel, though. It can be a very tricky angle to challenge.
I love seeing this site because of the way that several teams approach it. It's very rarely as you just come in horizontally, you either take top floor or you look towards bottom floor. Very commonly, attackers will take the top floor, at least look for that initial control. Defenders will play downstairs with multiple C4s on side, ready to throw them up at a moment's notice. Worth noting, actually, that G2 have only got 2 C4s remaining. They've already used 1. Haven't killed anyone with it, of course. So their denial options, once they actually go in for the push onto the site, normally inside of Tellers to go for the plant, somewhat limited here, and we've seen teams get away with standing on top of tables or like the chest of drawers, for example, filing cabinets, whatever you want to call them. There's multiple ways that you can get around those C4s, so it's going to have to be smart play from G2 to deny this, assuming that Secret can even get near the site in the first place.
That's the big question at the moment. 1 minute 20 left to go, but that is a great start. Hive coming in there, getting an opening kill onto Kayak, leaving us 5 versus 4, and that might just give a little bit of access into that mid-floor, particularly over towards Visas. That's just looking that little bit clearer now. Prano heads up to support Sleben in clearing out the top floor. Still 2 G2 players ahead of them. Need to be very careful moving around the long desk there. We can see Gemini drone goes in, saying that there is one there. Looks to make the challenge. Kanto will take some damage, but not enough really. Gonfi, however, is able to shut down Virtue with a headshot. 5 versus 2 as Draven gets Kanto, and this is all going towards Team Secret right now. That is top floor control, mid floor control, and almost round control. 1 versus 5. Citizen manages to get a down onto Prano. He secures the kill, and that avoids a flawless round, but it's the best they can do as Sleben comes in with the trade, and Team Secret put themselves on match point here on Consulate.
Insane words that I never thought I'd hear this evening. Not gonna lie, that's 3 rounds back to back that Secret have now rocked up with and sit at 6 and 3. And the scariest part is, I don't even think G2 are doing anything particularly wrong. They had Kanto and Virtue both waiting to play for a trade-based play inside of admin as we saw Gompi pushing in. But he picks up 1, he pulls himself back a little bit, and then Kanto gets picked off by someone else as they come for the push in again. Things are not looking super clean for them right now. There is work to be done, but this is all testament to Secret and how well they are attacking.
The thing is, we've got to look at Secret and say this largely comes down to the signings that they've picked up. Sleben and Gonfi have come in and been absolutely pivotal to these rounds. They've played fantastically well, and they really do have G2 on the ropes right now. The best that G2 can hope for is overtime at this point.
I've never really felt angry or frustrated watching a mirror player play. Hard to say. And then seeing what Sleben did in the defensive side, I was like, right, now it's very clear to everyone why she gets banned away. And Gonfi, you've just touched on nicely there. That last round, he was willing to step up and go aggressive and be willing to take that firefight against both Virtue and Kanto, and comes out on top. You're coming up against some of the most well-known, well-respected fraggers in the game and saying, no problem, I'll keep on going. This is looking like a really impressive Secret. And I always thought they were a good attacking team. They were quite coordinated, always great to see. Now you're starting to see them with more fragging power on side, and that can be a truly terrifying mix.
I already can't wait to see more of this Team Secret. I want to see them up against different opposition. I want to see them, a couple of weeks down the road. Can they maintain this? Is it that honeymoon period we keep going on about? Or is it going to be some consistency from them? Because right now, I have absolutely no doubt, Des, that there are going to be other teams around this league looking at this game and thinking, right, we need to take a long, hard look at Team Secret.
Well, just in case you guys are wondering what that pause is all about this season, you do have tactical timeouts per team. So if you want to take a pause when things aren't going so well, we often used to seeing things like this in, say, the grand final of SI, where the coaches can call a timeout, they can get in there, they can talk to the players, they can reset things out a little bit. Not going to lie, I'm not exactly sure if coaches are allowed to get involved and discuss at that point, but it's about the pause, the fact that you can reset momentum, which can be such a killer for so many teams in Siege. And no doubt in the G2 camp, there's a bit of panic here that they're sat there saying it's 6-4. Things aren't looking too good for us right now. We need to find an answer. Otherwise, we're losing our first game of the season. And against Secret, who, not to be disrespectful, you probably wouldn't say are a top 3 team at this point. After today, who knows? They could very well build into being one.
Certainly could. We can see there that Citizens managed to pick himself up a couple of drones on the Mozzie, so the defenders are going to have maybe a little bit more information than they might otherwise, and they can utilise that. Quite often, I think the Mozzie drones will, be looked to be used as almost static cams additionally. Get them positioned in key locations, and you can just check back to them. It's not quite the same process necessarily as the attackers will take, sort of droning each other in actively. But I could be wrong in that. Obviously, it's down to each individual team as to how they choose to use them. Now, Gonfi has absolutely raced into sight here, but shut down by Uno behind that mirror. Had full disclosure of what was happening ahead of him, knew that he was about to be pushed, and Citizen gets in on the action with a kill onto Hive. That puts the diffuser down cold on the ground, and Team Secret are just against the ropes here in round number 11. Citizen piles on the pressure with a double, and then a third comes in for Kanto here. 5 versus 1, and it is all down to Sleben.
The power of a timeout. Look at the difference it's made straight away. A little bit of calm down, a little bit of composure chat, and they've just flawless routed Secret after being rolled over a couple of rounds in a row. This is what it comes down to. This is gonna get spicy.
We are heading into our last regulation time around then. We did call it, Des. We did say that there was a possibility for overtime in this one, and be honest, at this point, I can't say that it's not a mouth-watering prospect, because it really is. I could watch this game all night.
I wonder how it boils down to, because Secret, of course, can still call their tactical timeout if they feel the need to, and I wouldn't so much right now. Maybe they do, I don't know. But I think for now they're proceeding onwards. If this goes into overtime, at what point do they take the pause and use it? Because it's one of those things like a 6 pick. It's there for you to use. It's a tool that can help you. Sometimes it may have 0 impact, but it's always worth using a tool if it is there and available to you. Final site then of regulation, as you say, is going to be down in Cafeteria and Garage. And this is where we saw Secret bullying G2 a couple of times over with those mirror windows, keen to see if Uno makes the same effect out of them, or if they're placed a little bit less optimally, or if Secret have just got the right answer to deal with them.
Now we see Citizen on the Mozzie again. Did well last time, managed to snag himself a couple of drones, and it brings us to a point of worthwhile highlighting. There's a nice little update. We've had quite a few nice updates to the spectator UI here, but if you just look on Mozzie, you can see that he's got 2 pests left, the number inside of the black circle, but I believe the number underneath that black circle, a new additional number there, tells us how many drones he's actually captured and got active at any one time. So, as they tick up, you can see if he's got 2 drones active at that point, but then you may see it tick back down again as the attacking team find them and destroy them. So just an interesting one to keep your eye on if you're just trying to track that Mozzie and see exactly how he's doing with his utility.
I'll keep a close eye on it for sure. I know before we used to have Mozzie showing numbers like 96 and things like that around somewhere on his scorecard, and was never quite sure what it represented. Maybe it was a bug and that's now been corrected to show the numbers. Guess we'll see as the rain proceeds if he does catch any of those drones. Otherwise, it's more of the deterrent factor that is kind of secondary to him. You more deny those zones of control for drones, or I guess zones of patrol for drones, and that they can't get into a given area. There we go. It's showing 96. No idea what that means. I think maybe it's damage dealt to drones or something. I don't know at this point.
We'll get further information on it.
Yeah, well, let's go and ask the observing cell and go, guys, what does this 96 actually mean? Please tell.
I was going off the last round where I knew he'd captured 2 and it was definitely reading 2. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how it pans out. We've got Malusic looking to challenge into meeting. Just looking to push forward once again. Looking to keep hold of top floor control for as long as possible for the time being. Waste as much time as they can, which is something that G2 have done a reasonable job of so far. Let's remember, this one is now or never for them. And Gomfe, he's trying to make it the never. He gets in and gets a kill onto Kanto, but then shut down with a wonderful Nitro from Virtue, just detonates that, and destruction reverberates through the server as he closes out Gomfe and brings us back to a 4 versus 4. Finding ourselves now with 1 minute 30 left on the clock. G2 have no choice but to win this round. They have to have a successful bottom floor defense here. But interestingly, Team Secret not really pushing for the hard breach of the garage wall.
I mean, a minute and a half is a lot of time to play with, especially on a map as small as this one, but you still, again, worry about what it comes down to when the panic starts descending. This wall will get opened up, and this should force Uno away. Surely he's going to go for the drop. Indeed, he will. He's back on site. Simple bit of utility will displace a whole operator. Who'd have thought?
Leben just looking to get himself established and make sure that those defenders have been forced back down to site. Draven closes out the electrical. He will get rid of that and just start to open up those angles. So with 45 seconds left to go, we see the wall start to be opened as they're going to have to move quickly here. They're going to be down to 30 seconds realistically before they have any sort of optimal control over the plant area. But have a look at where the G2 players are. They've all been forced really far back into sight, and this could be a problem for them because the breach is now open. Hive has the fuser in hand, and all he needs to do is move in and get into a plant spot. 20 seconds left to go. Draven finds a kill onto Kayak, and that makes G2's position even worse here. Hive is looking to move in to get the plant down. That's exactly what he's going to do. Diffuser starts to be activated. Uno with a kill onto Prano. Uno coming here. Is he going to be quick enough? He starts to put the damage down, but no, the diffuser is planted. 2 versus 3 though. The question is now, can Hive escape? Uno gets the kill onto him. Citizen backs him up with a Nitro onto Draven. We are 1 versus 2. It's all down to Sleben. He has to defend the activated diffuser. He's in the prime position to do it. This is all down to Citizen. If anyone can find this kill, surely it's this man. HP is around even. The battle is on. God. Citizen takes a lot of damage. He has to hit the head. He can't. Sleben finishes it off, and Team Secret, they take the win in Playday 1 against G2.
Oh my goodness. The reason why I scream no is because for Uno, that has got to be heartbreak. You drop to the deck, you spray the planter, but can't do enough damage to down him, because I understand if he'd ran around the side of the van, he would have been killed from afar anyway. I completely get it. But the fact that you put yourself in a position like that, where you maybe with another slither of a second would have got enough bullets into the planter to close him down and end the round there, that could have been overtime. But Secret, they pull off the upset of the day, I would argue, and bring down the winners of the EU finals in January in G2. That is how we want to start a day of EULR face.
What a great performance from Team Secret. That was an absolute joy to watch. I am right on the edge of my seat, as if it had to come at 10:30 at night UK time. There is no chance that I am sleeping for a couple of hours. I'm just going to stay up through till layback.
That's first thing in the morning, of course. That's going to be a great one to look forward to. But honestly, that is a dream start for a day, I think, of EUL. Looking back at all that we've seen, every single game has been absolutely incredible, and this was really the cherry on the cake. What a wonderful way to close things out. Let's go over to our analyst Desto and get their thoughts on how this game went.
Thanks so much, Des, Ace, and yeah, what